Oh, snap. Welcome back to the channel, y'all. My name's Patrick. If you like true crime, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button for me. So many of y'all have asked me to talk about the Trump assassination attempt, and I've seen so many videos coming out today, a little bit last night, new evidence, new footage, everything. Insane. Without any further ado, let's just jump straight into it. Please make sure you hit the like button, y'all, and let's go. You guys ready for this? Oh, man.
Stunning new video tonight showing the moment Donald Trump's would-be assassin climbed onto the roof of that building just 2 minutes before he opened fire.
Yeah, look, there he is.
You can hear bystanders desperately trying to alert police. Authorities now using that video as part of the investigation. And tonight, ABC News has learned that heavily armed local police were stationed inside that building and missed Thomas Crooks climbing up the outside of the building to the roof. The same building was being used as a staging area for local police, according to two law enforcement officials.
They're literally staging inside of that building and nobody noticed anything. What do y'all think about that? Come on, that's weird.
And Butler Township officials are confirming ABC News' reporting that a local police officer climbed up the roof and confronted Brooks moments before the shooting.
The officer grabbed hold of the edge of the building, pulled himself up to be able to look, and according to what he's told me, shooter turned, rifle was pointed at the officer. The officer, defensive move, kind of ducked, fell, lost his grip on the building.
Investigators tonight trying to determine whether roof access had been properly locked down. The shooter climbing seemingly unimpeded, about 400 feet from the stage, with a direct line of sight on the former president.
Take a look at what happened.
In Washington, lawmakers demanding answers, calling on the Secret Service director to appear before Congress. We sat down with Director Kim Cheatle today for an exclusive interview.
What was your reaction when you saw the events unfold on Saturday?
Shock, and then concern, obviously, for the former president. This is an event that should have never happened.
Who is most responsible for this happening?
What I would say is that the Secret Service is responsible for the protection of the former president.
So the buck stops with you?
The buck stops with me. I am the director of the Secret Service. It was unacceptable, and it's something that shouldn't happen again. The
president and Homeland Security Secretary said today they had 100% confidence in you. But there are some members of Congress calling on you to resign.
I appreciate the Secretary's comments, and we're going to continue to be transparent and communicate with people.
Do you plan to stay on? Absolutely.
I do plan to stay on.
Director Cheatle says she will not wait on an independent review of the security failure. She says she plans to make immediate changes. We learned today she's already expanded the tactical or SWAT support for former President Trump. David?
Pierre Thomas here in Milwaukee with us. Pierre, thank you.
Dang. Let's keep going.
Jonathan Lee Riches investigates. All right, folks, we have another sniper who speaks and says this was planned. Many snipers and many shooters, people have experience in this type of work, have been coming out, sharing their insight about this shooting that occurred at the Trump rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. This is the shooter right here. But I want to share this clip right here of this sniper who speaks. Check it out.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm here to tell you why the shooting of President Donald Trump yesterday, without a doubt in my mind, was a planned and coordinated attack on the president inside our government, our local agency, or police force. Here's why. My name is Matthew Murphy, and I am a retired Green Beret, retired from this Special Forces group, but I'm also a level 1 sniper, which means that I have graduated the highest level of training for snipers that you can do in special operations. We're trained, I'm going to avoid confidential or classified terminology. We're trained in assassinations and counter assassinations for the very reason, case in point, yesterday, the shooting of President Donald Trump. So, first of all, anywhere the president's going to go, there are teams from the Secret Service that go out days, if not weeks, if not months, before the president will ever be at that spot. And they do a site security assessment. And they do that with the local police forces and agencies to ensure that every potential security threat or vulnerability is secured and, of course, protected against. Now, This is done way before Donald Trump will ever get there, and they know every place that the president will be, and the sniper team especially is responsible for ensuring that no one can take a shot at the president. Now, that does not mean that the sniper team just sets up with their guns and scans the crowd and shoots. No, what they do, the most important thing they do pre-Donald Trump showing up, is within a 360-degree environment of that podium of the president, they ensure that there is not a place that is open that will be accessible by someone with a rifle to take a shot at the president. So they make sure those places are barricaded off, inaccessible, and heavily guarded, so there is no way you are going to get to the place where you can even shoot the president with a rifle before the president shows up. Then they scan the crowd and those places with the rifle just in case by some miracle you do. Now, you're not going to tell me, I don't care who you are, don't listen to the media, it's nonsense anyways, I think most of us know that by now, that some 20-year-old kid that looks like he played Dungeons and Dragons in his mom's basement is trained on a gun, especially a sniper rifle like that, is a registered Republican, and then can access anywhere near the vicinity of that crowd, of that event, with him not dressed in a uniform and that sniper rifle. He was wearing American flag t-shirt and pants, and he had a rifle. You're going to tell me that that kid went through all the levels of security, somehow got into the closest building to the president, then accessed the rooftop of the closest building to the president, then had the time to unpack his rifle, lay down in the prone, and then take 5 to 8 well-aimed shots at the president before he was decisively engaged by the Secret Service's counter sniper teams or a local police department. I don't know who they were. Most likely police. You're going to tell me all that happened and a 20-year-old kid did that without it being...
That seems crazy as hell, especially hearing it like that. All right, come on. By the way, y'all, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. If you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button too. But that does seem awfully strange. What do y'all think? Let me know.
Heavily planned, coordinated, and people on the inside making it happen. There's absolutely no way possible that that kid was able to get up there and take those shots at the president without a lot of internal help. So someone in that local, or some people inside that local police department, agencies, or Secret Service is compromised and is a threat to our president. So we need to stop worrying about that damn shooter and start worrying about who allowed this shit to happen. And President Trump, if you need an American to protect you who's actually good at sniping and stopping this crap, give me a call. I'll do it for free.
Bam, there you go.
Everybody have a good day.
That is a good point, though. Remember, who was it that said that? Don't ask who fired the shot. Ask why the shot was fired.
Okay, God bless.
Was it planned? A lot of people have a lot of questions about this guy right here. 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks. Who is this guy? Where did he come from? Why did he travel an hour north from his home? He lives in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. Travel an hour and climb up on a building to commit this terrible act. And his intention was to assassinate the president of the United States. Why did he do it? We are analyzing. We have a lot of questions. We want to know. And a lot of people out there are asking and raising their eyebrows. Like, what in the world happened here? And think it's fishy or think something is going on. We're not getting told the truth. No one knows.
Oh, it's going to take like 50 years, 75 years to declassify everything to where anybody has any idea what happened.
What to think. It's kind of shocking, folks. And I can tell you, looking into this matter, it doesn't make sense.
Kind of shocking. That's an understatement of the century.
To me. This doesn't make sense at all about this guy's 20-year-old kid, fresh out of high school, was bullied in school, just a little guy, you know. How was this guy capable of doing this much damage? Something is not right. Secret Service failures, perimeters not being looked at. He was able to get on a building. It's just a strange set of circumstances.
That's supposedly police were staging inside of.
Circumstances, but we're looking into this matter. I want to know what you think in the comments. No stone left unturned. We are peeling the onion on this particular case. I am JLR Investigates. We will continue to look in this matter and hear what everyone else says, and I will share it with all of you. Stay tuned.
Let's keep going. We got more, y'all. By the way, hit that thumbs up button. Who's in here right now? I'm so early. It's like noon, but I'm here. Who's in here, y'all? Let's keep going.
Jonathan Lee Riches Investigates. New bombs.
And make sure you subscribe to JLR Investigates. All the videos we're watching, y'all, they're linked in the description, tagged in the description, all that stuff. Give them a follow. Give them a subscribe. Let's keep going.
Shell report right here. New evidence found at the crime scene. We're talking about a transmitter, a phone, a bicycle, a backpack. Yes, this is some powerful stuff. Check it out.
Breaking tonight, exclusive new details about gunman Thomas Crooks in the hour leading up to the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. And this is a worldwide exclusive picture showing the cell phone and remote transmitter found next to Crooks' body on the roof moments after the shooting. Tonight, despite the U.S. Secret Service director saying there were local police in the building where Crooks eventually fired the shots, Channel 11 News has confirmed with our sources that counter snipers from 2 local SWAT teams were positioned in an adjoining building, but no teams were set up in the building that Crooks fired from.
However, as we learn new details about the timeline leading up to the shooting, it's now clear multiple local law enforcement agencies were aware Crooks was acting suspiciously and was in the area of the AGR building for at least an hour before the shots were fired.
Channel 11's
Whoa.
Nicole Ford's exclusive reporting last night was cited across the media landscape, and she is back tonight with exclusive breaking details, and she's live in Butler County with more. Nicole.
David, Gordon, those local counter snipers from 2 different local SWAT teams were positioned in the area of the AGR building, but not in the building that Crooks fired from, according to our sources. And tonight, we're learning that 3 separate local SWAT teams, along with state police, were all part of a Saturday morning briefing about the rally. Tonight, we're getting the first images of what police found on Thomas Crooks after a Secret Service sniper shot and killed him. A remote detonator and cell phone. Sources telling me that Crooks was spotted looking at that cell phone and a rangefinder when this photo was captured nearly an hour before shots were fired. That picture and his description were communicated on police radio to the tactical command post just after 5:30. All this happening outside the AGR building, but sources tell us local law enforcement was never stationed in the building Crooks climbed, but an adjacent building seen here. Buildings that Butler Township Manager Tom Knight says were identified as a point of interest by planning authorities not on the local level.
So the building was outside the event area, and there was conversations about the logistical coverage of the building.
Conversations? There were conversations made about this. You should have said actions.
What the building had for access points and what access points needed to be controlled.
As we exclusively reported on Monday, another message was sent to command about 15 minutes before the former president got on stage. Sources telling us the last sighting of Crooks, he had a backpack, but no sign of a gun.
That there was a radio transmission indicating that there was a suspicious individual on the rooftop. Was my understanding was our officers' first notification to begin moving towards that building.
According to our sources, Crooks was still on the ground when Trump took the stage, and the Butler Township officers arrived to the AGR building as Trump moved to the podium.
2 of the officers went to what appeared to be the lowest point from ground to roof. One of the officers actually boosted the second officer up high enough for him to grab hold of the roof. He did, in fact, see an individual on the roof with a weapon.
Knight says Crooks pointed the rifle at the officer as the officer hung onto the side of the roof, unable to reach his radio or weapon.
Lost his own grip, right? Fell approximately 8 feet to the ground.
Not long after, those shots were fired at the stage. Crooks was killed, and the phone and transmitter were found next to him. Now, the big question tonight is who was running that tactical police line of communication? As we reported from our sources, local SWAT officers were reporting all of this information up the chain of command. I questioned state police today on their role of communication. I'm told that they're not allowed to comment on operational security or planning. Reporting live in Butler County tonight, Nicole Ford, Channel 11.
Wow.
Folks,
Yeah.
you saw a bicycle and a backpack. Now, the question is, it seems like he took his Hyundai and drove to the venue there from his Bethel Park home. He lived with his parents, who are counselors, by the way. But it seems like possibly he parked his vehicle and then got a bicycle and the backpack and maybe had the rifle blended in with the bicycle and rode his bike to the scene. Because this is the second report I've seen with a bicycle and a backpack. Then he was there an hour before Trump took the stage, and he was seen. They took that photograph that you saw.
That is unhinged, bananas crazy.
Is him, and it was taken by police. And then 2 police officers tried to go and look into him on the roof, and he fired a weapon. The officer fell down, and then the shots started going off. Wow. Seems like in a transmitter, detonator on him. What in the world was going on? What was his grand plans here beyond just the shooting? Because explosives were apparently found in his vehicle and his home.
Jeez.
What in the world's going on here, folks? But it's good to get some of that information and new information because I didn't hear this information prior. So hopefully you learned something out of this report right here. We will continue to dig. We will continue to get news clips and figure this out and put the pieces together on what happened that Saturday, that fatal, tragic day that changed the course of history. It has. So let me know what you think. We are digging deeply into the shooter, Thomas Matthew Crooks, 20 years old. And we have a playlist up, so check it out, and we will continue to dig. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button. Let me know what you think, and we will talk soon. I am JLR Investigates. Stay tuned.
Let's keep it going. I got another video.
Welcome back here on Live Now from Fox, and I do want to get to the latest now on the assassination attempt against former President Trump at Saturday's rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. We're getting some new video in showing different angles of the law enforcement response here. Take a look. One video appears to show officers trying to figure out how to get on the roof where the shooter was located. As for the newest information that we do have here, despite the FBI cracking into Thomas Matthew Crooks' cell phone, scouring his computer, home, and car, and interviewing more than 100 people, why the 20-year-old opened fire on the former president still remains a mystery. While that reasoning behind it is elusive, other details are emerging about who Crooks was. He appeared to be an intelligent loner with few friends, a thin social media footprint, and no hints of strong political beliefs. Still, as I mentioned, the investigations into what happened, why, and how do continue. Want to talk more about all of this here, so let's bring in Toby Braun, the founder of American Special Investigative Group. He's also an expert in threat intelligence, security advancement, executive protection, and active shooter response. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us and kind of break down some of the perspective here.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me on.
Of course. So the big question that so many people are asking, and it appears that no one yet has a clear answer, is how exactly was a gunman able to get onto a rooftop that was so close to former President Trump?
Absolutely.
Coordinated effort, right? I mean, how else? Dude, is it and if not, it's honestly scarier to think that somebody could just do this on a whim. Like, if that's actually what happened, that might be scarier. Well, I don't know. Having people on the inside is pretty damn scary too. It's all scary. What do y'all think? Let's keep going. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button.
And that's really a question the whole world is asking. And first and foremost, I want to express my sincere condolences to the family of Corey Comperatore He's really the hero in this whole situation. He was the off-duty fire chief who shielded his family and stopped them from getting shot. And really, our hearts as a nation should really go out to him and his family. Now, to answer your question, how did this shooter get so close to President Donald Trump? And I'm really baffled by that. Ultimately, we won't know the entirety of the story and all the answers until the investigation is concluded. But basically, it came down to a massive security failure, a catastrophic security failure. And my biggest question is, why was Donald Trump on that X? The X is considered in executive protection and presidential protection, the point where the president is standing at any point in time. And that is the first thing that an agent is supposed to do, is get him off the X anytime there is any sort of threat intelligence against the president. And it really comes down to two things primarily, and that's communication. Clearly, there was a tremendous lack of communication between local authorities and the Secret Service, and also advancement, including aerial surveillance and your ground surveillance.
And the video you're looking at is just one of the new perspectives that we are getting from some of the folks who are out there. And it looks like this is actually the video that shows the shooter right there. You could see him actually on the roof. And again, this is just some of the video that we have received over the past few hours or so. Now, there are multiple probes into security. Can you kind of explain to me how security works to set up a perimeter for something like this, and how ground, air surveillance, all of that, just kind of a little bit deeper into how that works?
Sure. So first and foremost, the first thing the Secret Service does anytime a protectee goes to an event, they send an advance team. An advance team is a small unit within the Secret Service of various agents, and those agents go out there, and their job is to first and foremost get an idea of the lay of the land, to scope the area, to meet with local law enforcement, to establish a communications plan, to establish an SOP, to establish a command post. A command post would be an area usually off-site. That way, if there's a critical incident, it won't impact the command post, where you have local law enforcement on radio comms, as well as Secret Service radio comms. So that way, because they're not both on the same channel, so that way, if there is an incident, the locals can communicate to command post and vice versa, and that communication gets relayed out. So that is extremely crucial in the advanced process. I don't know if that was done. I would assume it was done, but clearly that communication never happened. And then once agents are out there and setting up your perimeter security, your fencing, your ingress, your egress, obviously there's various credential points. Anytime somebody's close to President Trump, there is various credentials and security checks required. And then people further back in the crowd, they still go through magnetometers at the rallies and everything, which is another thing that the advancement team will be out there setting up. And it's really just setting up all the groundwork. It's important to notate that the agents that are traveling with a protectee at any point in time, those agents have probably never been on site there. So once President Trump gets off the plane, he's in a motor convoy with his, it's called the shift, which is the inner circle of the Secret Service that are the agents that are actually with him at all time, protecting him. And again, that advance is really crucial in guiding those agents on the ground and making sure everything is set up for the president's or the protectee's arrival. So that advancement period is absolutely crucial. We also were talking about ground surveillance, area surveillance. For ground surveillance, we would have a mixture of CCTV cameras. You'd see, you would have agents on the ground that are part of a surveillance team. And you'd also have aerial surveillance, which is a mixture of air support.
You know what's crazy? Look how they were struggling, like police and Secret Service struggling to get on that roof. They said that a cop had fallen off the roof, all this stuff. It was that hard for trained law enforcement and like highly trained Secret Service and special forces, stuff like that, to get on that roof. But this kid just was like, I'm gonna ride my bike in here with a backpack and then I'm gonna just get right on it. What? I mean, come on. How does that make any sense at all whatsoever? You know what I mean? It's weird. Y'all hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new. Let's keep going.
Your helicopter. and which is mostly local assets, the helicopters, and then you'd also have a drone and potentially infrared thermal imaging cameras and various other assets and technologies to really add to that ground surveillance. And another thing in the advanced process is the CS, the counter sniper team, and obviously there's a lot of questions on that, and that's another huge part of it of scoping out the areas of where your CS team is going to be set up, where your vulnerabilities are, and making sure that all these exits and all these various points where there could be a line of sight picture to the protectee to make sure those are covered.
And on that note right there, do we know yet if the counter sniper team actually followed the rules? Do we know what those rules are? How does all of that work?
So the rules of engagement are very simple. They're the same rules of engagement than they are in using deadly force. And that's really if there's a credible threat, if anytime there is fear that the protectee may be in harm of serious bodily harm or death, they are authorized to use deadly force. There's no prior clearance required for that. If there is a deadly threat, and a guy on a rooftop with a rifle would certainly qualify as a deadly threat, and they don't need any prior authorization. They'll clearly take that shot. So as far as if they follow the rules of engagement, again, there's a lot of unanswered questions to that. There's now reports coming out that apparently the Secret Service counter sniper team, which again, it's important to notate that President Trump now has a much smaller security footprint in detail than he did when he was in office. So the counter sniper team is much smaller. It's a much smaller element than it would be if he was in office. And there's now reports coming out that a local sniper element of one of the local police departments was responsible for covering that rooftop because the Secret Service counter sniper team did not have a clear line of sight picture on that rooftop, which is certainly possible. And again, that's all information that we're just going to have to wait, unfortunately, until more information comes out to really identify what really happened and did they follow the rules of engagement immediately, or was there a delay because of a line of sight picture and an additional element that was responsible for that area of operation.
Whoa.
And it's almost crazy to look at here because you can see this video. I'm going to pull it up full here so you can get a better look. But what we were seeing was the suspected gunman there on the roof. So you had so many people who were taking videos of this person and trying to point them out to law enforcement there. But the fact that that shot was still able to happen, and we do know that one person did die. Former President Trump was wounded and 2 other people had critical injuries. So it's strange just watching that video right there on your screen. Now, I do want to know, what is the likely community?
Doesn't it make sense that the second somebody sees somebody crawling around on the roof, they just get everybody out of there. Get Trump in the car, get him headed back to wherever. Just stop it, get down, and just it makes no sense. Oh my God.
Communication plan between the Secret Service and local law enforcement there.
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier, that's all part of that plan will be established in the advancement process once those initial agents are on the ground. And a lot of times those agents are on the ground at a minimum of days. But in most cases, weeks and weeks before. And the plan would be, again, setting up a command post, an offsite command post. That way, if there is any sort of attack on the main site, the command post doesn't get impacted because communication is absolutely crucial. And I believe if we have better communication, this tragedy would have been prevented. And you would have local law enforcement, you would have a dispatch or an officer for each department with a radio in that command post, including a representative for the Secret Service. It's on the Secret Service channel, and that way. And you'd also have fire department. You'd have you may even have ground workers on the site, and really any part of your critical incident management team and your stakeholders. And anything that happens on the ground, it gets relayed to the command post, or it should get relayed to the command post. At least that's how it's supposed to happen. And then that way, the respective agencies that are responsible for whatever is going on can then be notified and dispatch their personnel out. So again, it's really important to note, because there's a lot of questions right now on, hey, how come the locals didn't, radio the Secret Service? How come there was this huge delay? It's a question we all have, but I, again, the way I'm sure it was set up, there was a possibility for that to happen, and it should have happened through that command post and through that unified communication. But why that didn't happen, why the shooter was on that rooftop for almost 30 minutes.
Oh my, almost 30 minutes. That's insane, y'all. Like, that is insane.
And they were tracking him too. And how come that wasn't relayed to those shift agents? I am just beyond baffled, and I know the entire world is. So all questions that need to be answered.
All right, Toby, my last question for you here. Do you think that we will ever get those clear answers about what did happen? Are there certain things that we may never know?
Yeah, I can tell you we are going to get more answers. I mean, more answers are coming out daily, right? As we're having this interview, it's likely there's more information that's coming out. Are we going to have the clear sight picture? No pun intended. No, we are not. And the reason being is anytime there is an attack on a Secret Service protectee, that is essentially it's classified information. And the reason being is because it's obviously the Secret Service job to protect their protectee, and the more information that's out there, that can potentially expose other security vulnerabilities that can then be exploited or try to be exploited by a copycat. Obviously, those weak points and those vulnerabilities will be patched up. I'm very confident in that. Secret Service is still the premier federal agency for protection. It's an amazing organization. There's definitely questions that need to be answered and some changes need to be made here. But nevertheless, I'm confident that those vulnerabilities will be patched up. But no, we are not going to have the entirety of everything that happened, every single detail. It's also on that note, recently authorities picked up human intelligence from the Iranians that have also planned an attack against the life of former President Trump. And so again, the threats are out there. Threats are rising, not just for the now presumptive presidential nominee, but also for our country as a whole.
All right, Toby, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and help break all this down. Is there anything else you want to add about any of this before I let you go?
I think that's it. I think it's important to stay vigilant, right? We saw so many people in the crowd that were notifying law enforcement, and my hat's off to those people in there. And it's important to stay vigilant, and to know, if you see something, say something. If you can take action, like notifying law enforcement in that situation, do it. Be persistent. Make sure they're on it. And again, stay vigilant. It's really there are some tough times for our country. There are new threats that we are facing every single day, and it's important to not only for our country to unite, but for us to remain extra vigilant and know those threats are out there, and they're unfortunately only increasing.
Oh my God, y'all. Let me know what you think about that down in the comments. Make sure you leave a like. And we'll be doing some more live streams tonight, every day, y'all, literally every day. So I'll see you on a little bit, but I wanted to pop on and make this one. Wow. See you guys soon.